Jazz hands. And welcome back to the Dispensary Live. Tonight is not one of our featured episodes, but instead we have featured guests. It's even cooler. We've got someone all the way from Cali, Miss Corina, and then we've got a very special guest, Miss Morgan, who has been on our show. So welcome back. Oh, and Brandon's here. He's just hiding in a corner. So we're
I'm here. Well, welcome back, Morgan. I don't even know the last time you came on the show. When that was over a year.
I was back in May.
Oh, was it in May?
It was all the way back in May.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you if that was last
23.
Yeah, God, of 23.
Like, wow. Okay.
Karina's never been on with us.
A year ago.
Maybe it was. No, because I feel like I was diagnosed by then.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, welcome back.
Yep. So it was in May of 23. A lot has just happened since then.
You aren't shitting.
Oh man.
So, I mean, it's your show. More? Yeah, I was like, it's your show. It's your spotlight. Do a quick introduction, reintroduce the guests.
Sure. Hey guys, welcome. My name is Morgan. I have lost 200 pounds by diet and exercise. I did not have weight loss surgery. I didn't use any weight loss medication. And I didn't cut anything out of my diet. I just did it through a low calorie deficit. After I lost all the weight, I had 5 pounds of extra skin removed. And then I was hit with some pretty serious diagnoses. One of them is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. People like when I do the skin thing. It's a connective tissue disorder.
So cool.
So I know I can like dislocate. Oh, zoom in. All right, there we go. Ready. I can fly away. It's messed up. I'm sorry. So it's a connective tissue disorder that affects all of my body. I can dislocate everything. I have 11 doctors. I went to really intense physical therapy over the last year because I lost 25 pounds of muscle in like 8 months. That said, I have been using these products pretty religiously for the last few months for sure, definitely since October. And yesterday I had a conversation with my doctor and was able to back off the majority of my pharmaceutical medications.
That is amazing.
It is amazing. He's never seen it. He had to go and override the system because they are not used to decreasing medication as opposed to increasing it.
That's got to feel amazing.
It feels really cool.
I think your whole story is
I feel like you want anything with the products that you're using.
That's the thing. Yes, I showed him the packaging. I told him all about it. I told him where the store is. He's supportive of it. He's excited. I told him, if you made me take a urinalysis right now, it would show up with THC. And he's like, it's legal. And, the proof is in the pudding. You're doing amazing. I was like, I feel great.
That is amazing.
So I have my doctor's full support.
So before we jump into all the details, Miss Corina just found out is like a growing up friend with you?
Yes, I've known Corina, before 2004, even.
Miss Corina, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you maybe want to touch base on today as well?
Sure. So, like Morgan said, we go way back to our childhood, and we've kept in touch over the years. Even though I'm on the West Coast, I've been out here for about 10 years, but we still talk every day. So it's still my best friend right there. But anyways, ever since I left Wisconsin, which is where I went to college at UWSP, go Pointers. I graduated with a biochemistry degree, and I left for the West Coast back in 2012 and kind of jumped right into the cannabis industry in, I want to say 2013 was when I started my first testing lab job. And it's been quite a wild ride ever since. I've been pretty much immersed in the medical and recreational side of the industry in the legal states of Oregon and California. And now I work remotely for a testing lab in Michigan that I'm about to relocate for. So I've been in a lot of different regulated markets for cannabis. So hearing about what you guys are doing is definitely very intriguing because it's so different than how it's been going past 10 years for the cannabis industry.
Can I ask you, Corina, why'd you want to get into the cannabis industry?
To make money.
Oh, fair. Okay, I didn't know if you were like enjoying some cannabis during Stevens Point.
Well, sure. I mean, there's more to it than that, but I'm a scientist and there's not a lot of opportunity to go out into science and make money. However, cannabis was a unique opportunity for me, especially at the time when I became involved in it. There was a lot more money in the medical and recreational industries. There still is, but it was different back then, that's for sure. Let's just leave it at that.
So you're a scientist, you deal with testing. How do you feel like about the products that Morgan's using? Has she sent you any to test, play with? What do you know about what she's taking?
With what she's taking right now, I know what she's told me and what I can see online, basically. But prior to that, she had taken plenty of regular, compliant cannabis products from California and even from Oregon when she would come out to visit. And it seems like some of the products you have work even better than what is available on the other markets, from what she's told me.
Tell us why, or what do you think those reasons are?
Well, I know you guys have a lot of different cannabinoids using the hemp-derived compounds, and there's definitely a few that she's mentioned that are maybe binding tighter to her receptors and having a more psychoactive, more profound effect than your run-of-the-mill Delta-9 products. So I'm guessing that would be part of it.
I guess I'd go to Morgan because everybody is different because everybody is different, right? Like, so we get into that. What do you, because I don't, what's your weapon of choice now? What are you enjoying using?
Ooh, it depends on the moment and the day. Every body is different. That's so true. And I've had every body going from 315 pounds down to 115 pounds, being able to
Still amazing.
climb a rope with a 50-pound vest on me to needing crutches to walk. And the coolest thing is the products, there's such a vast array of products that you can use it for different things. At night, I'm going to be using a smokable with an indica. I really like to put the crumble on top of the flower.
Ooh, that's strong.
It is, but I sleep. I don't take sleep medication anymore.
Is that sleep or pass out?
That's
hey,
What's the difference?
I'll do that, but during the day when I want a really good, like nice uppity, like I'm not going to pass out, the peanut butter cups, the THCP peanut butter cups are where it's at, the pink ones.
Yeah.
Love those.
Those I'm scared of.
Have you tried
I can't
those?
touch those.
I love them. What I like about the THCP, and during the day, if I'm using flour, I will mix the THCP with the THCA. For some reason, I feel like the P, which has a higher binding effect, mixes with the A and helps with the inflammation. It helps with the pain. I'm no longer taking ibuprofen or Tylenol. I've never taken opiates because my mom is a drug addict. So to be steering clear of even more pharmaceuticals is such a relief for me. I'm a huge fan of that. And then the other huge one I have found is the warming cream. Right now, you can kind of see that my legs have this weird pattern to them.
Isn't that just blood vessels?
It is, but that's because of my POTS. It's postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome.
Bless you.
You're welcome.
I don't know.
Thank
Was that English?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were bilingual.
Just with sign. But what that means is when I stand up, my heart rate shoots up and my blood pressure goes down. I will pass out. It's pretty serious. I don't have the best blood flow. But I've noticed with the warming cream and the CBD and everything in there, it warms everything up and then it brings down the pain. And I'll look down and the rash is gone. The pain is gone. It works so incredibly well. So I keep that in my car on me 24/7.
I've been using that. I have a torn labrum. So 2 different tears in it. Nothing comparable to that. Like I'm just over here being a wimp. But I've been using the warming cream and it helps a lot of relief.
Will use that to keep his arm on. Otherwise,
I do. I'm waiting for surgery.
I was going to say, that sounds like a surgical thing.
Unfortunately, I think
You have so much time.
I do. I know. I'm like, I'm trying to avoid the surgery.
Can they do it while you're on an airplane?
I wish they probably could. Oh, Corina, I was just going to ask you, like, okay, so with Delta 10, Delta 8, and THCP, and even THCA, what research from a scientific standpoint do you know about this since you've been in the cannabis industry for 10 years?
Honestly, there has not been a whole lot of published research on any of those compounds. Most of it has definitely focused on the the normal ones: CBD, THCA, THC, Delta, activated THC Delta 9. Although the other ones are all activated too, but the prevalence of those as far as availability to the consumers is so new. I think the interest in them is really just starting to spark. I mean, you guys definitely see that, probably more insight in that than I have from a sales standpoint. But and I've been in the legal states where there's not a whole lot of demand for those products because there's dispensaries everywhere with you know, other access to regular cannabis. So it's definitely hard to say. I haven't seen very much research on any of that, but I don't know that there isn't any. I just haven't really come across it quite yet.
I as well have not seen a ton of medical research just because the cannabis industry as a whole, if you think about how much published articles are for medical research here in the nation, doesn't seem like there's a lot.
No, not
No.
enough. Yeah.
A lot of what I have seen as far as published research on cannabis is mostly from other countries, like a lot of European countries. I know there's a decent amount out of Spain and some from South America too, but I haven't seen much from the US at all.
How do you feel the THC standards have been held even in the Delta 9 market?
Standards for what?
Not only testing, but growing and performance of products of clarity and, I guess, quality products throughout the industry.
Do you mean standards put on by the consumer or by the state's requirements?
States requirements and then lab testing, like establishing your baselines and doing testing from there. I noticed certain labs have moved them around to sort of configure and make it look good for the state. But I'm seeing products out there that have such invalid testing, and actually Brandon can attest to this, even a medical facility where you scan the QR code and it goes to nowhere. They don't even have current COAs.
Yeah, that was surprising. That came straight out of Michigan. I don't know.
Oh, I'm
which
not
dispense-
surprised at all. Like
Yeah,
the
I
amount
know.
of fraud and the amount of conflicting interest, business partnerships that I've seen in this industry would blow most people's minds. It's just insane. So it's very hard to know what to trust. And here in California, they just passed a law. I think it went into effect today, where there's new potency testing requirements, and currently I think there's only 12 labs that are approved to do it. But again, that's not really going to stop anyone, since the state doesn't enforce the rules that they wrote. I mean, they're kind of starting to, because everyone is catching on to that, about how bad actors are just allowed to do whatever they want in California, and that's what crumbled our recreational industry here. But until there's more actual action or more standardized regulation, like put in by the FDA, for example, or somebody that has more power or more, I guess the word is, bandwidth to enforce what is written, because that seems to be the issue that we've seen more than anything, is these states are coming up with these regulations. So far in Michigan, I've seen more enforcement than in any other state. Not to say that there's not still bad actors getting away with whatever, but the CRA at least pulls licenses for people who they catch, which is new. In Oregon and California, you could pretty much pay to play and do whatever you want. There's like a slap on the wrist. But it's been quite wild with that, because testing, where I stand, I've gone back and forth from testing to manufacturing a bunch of times because of that, because of how every testing lab, all of the clients want to do is pay you to raise their potency. And then they bombard you with this request a million times a day. So it gets really annoying, and it tests your ethics constantly. So I didn't really like that. Currently, my job isn't really doing that at all. We're a pretty reputable lab, and we have good ethics, so I stand behind them. But it is hard to find that in this industry. So, especially as a scientist, it's been weird.
We find integrity in that market struggling, which is weird, because are you familiar with CANRA? CANNRA?
Where are they?
That's actually they're nationwide. CANRA is the Cannabis Regulation Authority across the nation. And each state has someone representing them on the CANRA board.
Okay,
And
I think I maybe have heard a little bit about them, actually.
And they spend a vast amount of time talking about how perfect the industry is and how well regulation is working and how clean and safe all the products in every state are. And we, being in the industry, in
Yeah.
legal states even find that not true, because we sneak in and we get some of these products and they are not as clean as pure as they say. So someone who works in a lab, and then I
Yeah.
guess I moved that to like Miss Morgan, because you've used products from California and Michigan, and yet you choose ours
Yes,
and you say it's working better for you.
100 times better. The quality is there.
That's your key word, quality.
Yes.
That's what people lack mostly, giving a shit.
But
Even-
we can't make it as cheap as other people.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's fine for most of us. For
I'm
most consumers that care, it's fine.
good with that because, I mean, first off, I'm not paying for the pharmaceuticals. I'm not going to physical therapy. I'm not stuck in bed. And I know what's going in me. My dad was a narcotics officer back in the 80s, and he actually was the DARE cop. He would give presentations to doctors, lawyers, other police officers. And I was going through his notes, and a lot of the notes were, do you know what's in it? Do you know where it's from? Do you know? And I can actually look at all of this and be like, yeah, Dad, I do. And I know that it's helping me. I know that the quality is everything. And Corina, she's been able to see the improvement. I'm excited to get her feedback on that because I'll be calling her later in the day because like I slept, or I'm not freaking out over stuff anymore, or I'm not, saying, oh, I'm just going to call you while I sit here for a second and get myself together before I have to go and do this. I'm just like ready to go.
So since the last time you were with us, and I feel bad because I don't even get to spend.
You're fine.
I know, but I wish I could stay more just in touch with you because your story, I have repeated just the shell of it. And I'm like, hey, you got to look this woman up. Like, she is impressive. Your journey the whole way through, the struggles of even from the legal side to just all the way around, everything about you amazes me, right? Like, and I even talked about that on the first time you were with us. Perseverance. You pushed through, you were
Absolutely.
resilient, and you didn't play victim.
Nope.
And now for you to be where you're at right now from the last time you were on the show. So tell us the journey from then to now, because I think viewers would like to say, okay, what has she been through and what's the legal side? Like, tell us where you've been.
From May or just in general?
May or just in general, like whatever you want to share, because
Perfect.
I follow you on TikTok. I recommend other people follow her on TikTok. It's just Morgan Woodruff, isn't it?
Morgan Wood helps with
Wood.
WOOD
Okay.
because Woodruff, or Facebook with Morgan Woodruff. Yeah, so legal standpoint of it, I got in trouble for having possession of marijuana. I want to say back in 2017 or 2018.
You big druggie.
Big druggie. They wouldn't
Just
write.
reefer weed.
It was less than an ounce, but more than an eighth. So they wouldn't write me a ticket. I had to go through deferred prosecution and meet with somebody for 6 months. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Can I ask
and
where
now-
that happened? Where?
Oh, it was in Weston, right? Or Wausau, like right in my hometown. And luckily I was compliant with the police. So I did get the deferred prosecution. Everything was fine.
We'll bleep out your hometown so that we don't get stalkers.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
no,
just
that's not
wanted
my
to- I just wanted
hometown.
to-
That's I don't live in Wausau right now.
No, I was just
Wausau.
saying because it's not decriminalized there, is what I'm saying.
Right.
In Wausau.
Oh no, so this is beforehand. This was like way beforehand. This was in 2017. So yeah, it was rough. I was caught. I was charged. I had to, play by their rules and everything for my medication. Now, if I were to be, caught or pulled over, I would always have our product in its bag, sealed with its container, and that's legal. I literally never have to worry again. And that thought is insane to me, to be living in fear for years and years and years, especially as a mother, and have to play, should I have my medication or should I have less anxiety?
I feel like we have to cut that for a commercial because you said that like so on point about the safety. We preach it to custies all the time. We're like, hey, just keep it sealed, take it home, it's safe.
Yep, it is absolutely safe. The way that I think about it is THCA is like a firework, or fireworks in Wisconsin. You can sell fireworks, you can have fireworks, but once you light the fireworks, you need to be on your own property. And same thing with the THCA. It's legal to have it. to carry it in its container, but once you light it, you need to be in your own residence. You need to be in a private property.
Can you explain that? Blake was standing out in my yard again yesterday with Roman candles.
I think that he was just trying to sing you love songs.
He does. He's out there screaming, "My hair's on fire." I don't get it.
It's the ginger in him.
It is. Blake and Christina are in our audience. Blake, that blazing, gorgeous redhead, is out here.
But it's also really neat to see, like, on the molecular level, our products are the same. Can I say the same as on the molecular level? They are exactly the same as what I get in California or use in California, or what Corina's testing in California.
It is. I mean, Corina's a scientist. She could tell you. Corina, do you want to explain how Delta-9 from hemp is the same as Delta-9 from what people call marijuana? Scientist guru?
For sure. So, well, a little more background about me. My boyfriend's actually a legacy grower. He's been growing cannabis since he was 15. So, on that note, we have a lot of seeds in our freezer. So, when you think about cannabis as a seed, guess what? Hemp and cannabis come from the same seed. It's the same plant. It's literally the same. Cannabis sativa is one genus species, and it applies to hemp and cannabis. The difference is cannabis, as we know it, has been selectively bred for high THC over the years, where hemp has been more selectively bred for fiber and quick growing stalks, and not as much the cannabinoids themselves. From a USDA standpoint, they categorize hemp as anything less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC. The rest is left up to interpretation, basically. And that's where you guys come in with being able to do this legally right now. So from a molecular genetic standpoint, you're definitely 100% correct. There is no difference at all between high THC hemp and cannabis. It's all the same thing.
So, Corina, when someone comes in and they buy Delta-9 gummies from us, and they say, "Oh, we don't want that Delta shit. We want regular marijuana." What would you say to them from a scientist standpoint?
I would smile, and then I would say, well, yeah, it's hard to explain that to the general public. Honestly, it's not that. I've been trying to do this for 10 years. It's not that easy, but you.
What if I said what if I said we do that probably 10 times a day?
Yeah, I'm sure you do, especially where you're located. I can't imagine how, or in any of your locations, honestly, because people are like, even in a legal state, you could be right across the street from a stizzy dispensary or whatever you'd have, right? And you'd probably still get that question. And your answer to that would be, well, it's all the same. So it doesn't really matter. Ours are just categorized a little bit differently or something. I mean, I don't even know. What do you guys say when you get that question? I'm honestly quite curious.
We explain it that in a molecular structure, that is the exact same thing. And because I'm a gearhead, right? So I reference back to cars. I can take 1540 oil out of a Freightliner, and I can take 1540 oil out of a Ford. And if I drop both forms of oil, it's the exact same oil. Just because the makeup of what the vehicle is in, the oil is still the exact same thing. If I mix those oils together, they will bind together because they're the exact same thing. So when I try and break that down for people, and then I've heard other people say, well, it has to be weaker because it's from hemp. I'm like, no, it's the exact same thing. And we take some props. So what else do we say? Because we are vertically integrated and we control top to bottom, it allows us to know the purity and the quality of our products. She's got a dog barking.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Sorry.
Literally the same exact plant. People don't understand when you're in California, they're not selling 28% THC. They're selling 28% THCA. And when you light it, it becomes THC. And that's quite literally the same exact thing at the store. Going through different brands and strain names, I was talking to Corina about Jealousy and Runts and Trainwreck, which I've had all through our store. And she's testing the same exact stuff out in California.
Yeah, I can't smoke it. I mean, I can if I take a pull or two. I'm very special. My neighbors will find me out in the driveway washing my truck at like 10 p.m. Or I'm passed out eating a lot of chips. So I have different outcomes with that. Like
That's just me on a normal day, though. Oh.
That's actually hilarious. I try and stay more focused, and I just run on straight caffeine. That's my addiction.
Fair. My caffeine addiction has gone down since I've started taking the peanut butter cups.
See, you know what's really funny? I can't do the peanut butter cups.
I don't know. I start with half, and then like a couple hours later, I eat the other half. But the energy is amazing.
D10 is the only thing I function on where I can still function. That's my
Fair.
yeah. Like I can hit the gym. Like our pineapple gummies, I'm hands down like, oh, I can eat one of those and hit the gym. Guys like
peanut
Blake,
butter, that
Brandon,
peanut butter cup is super strong though. Still, watch out.
I have a very high tolerance, but also something that's interesting is with my genetic makeup, it takes more of a substance or a pharmaceutical or anything because I metabolize it faster than most people.